Good morning, His Excellency, the Honorable Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, the GMD and NPC, the Executive Secretary, NATI, all special guests from the ministries, private sector, industry leaders, our friends from civil society, the media amongst us, and all the other beautiful ladies and gentlemen gathered here. My name again is Bekeme Masade. I'm the founder and chief executive of CSR-in-Action. So ladies and gentlemen, the world has come to agree that sustainable development can only be achieved when every entity, like parts of a body, play its part. The responsibility to behave ethically and with the consciousness of the impact of our activities does not lie solely with one entity. Going by critical consideration of systems that work, it has been our experience that clear strategies that encourage active participation from all parts that make up the whole is only guaranteed path for success, both in private and public sectors. Sustainable development has, however, been rather slow in gaining traction, not only here, but in many other parts of the world. In Nigeria, we have experienced firsthand the catastrophe that the disjointed system of operation can produce, beginning with discussions to diversify the economy and going all the way down to our challenges with developing and enforcing policies that can stimulate productivity across the board. We have allowed too many resources and too much potential to go to waste. Our story, however, can be like countries like Canada or Germany, who have built strong economies on the foundation of sound sustainability policies. What do these two countries have in common? The drive for sustainable development is embedded into policies from the federal government level to ensure a uniform standard of ethical practices across board. For instance, in Canada, the Extractive Sector Transparency Measures Act, which was brought into force on June 1, 2015, requires extractive entities active in Canada to publicly disclose on an annual basis specific payments made to all governments in Canada and abroad. It is therefore not surprising that our inaugural partner for this conference was the Deputy High Commission of Canada in Lagos in 2012. Also, Canada's enhanced CSR strategy, Doing Business the Canadian Way, announced on November 14, 2014, clearly demonstrates that the government of Canada's expectations of Canadian companies is that they promote Canadian values and operate locally and abroad with the highest ethical standards. It also outlines the government's initiatives to help Canadian companies strengthen their CSR practices and maximize the benefits their investments can provide to those in host countries. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the entire point of sustainability: to build a system that is innovative and efficient enough to reap benefits both now and for many generations to come. The extractive sector has a unique role, as we all know, to play in Nigeria in both the Nigerian and global economies. In Nigeria, the sector is responsible for over 70% of government revenue and is crucial to economic revival and survival. Embedding sustainability in the sector is therefore tantamount to embedding sustainability in the national DNA. When we started in 2010, our goal was simply to advocate for communities directly and indirectly impacted by the activities of big business. Over the years, we have evolved into 3 sustainability-focused platforms: consulting, training, and advocacy, because we understand that the major challenge of sustainability in Nigeria is the inability to engage cohesively at all levels, a lack of awareness, and the will to execute. You will therefore find that all our activities center around 3 things: raising awareness, providing an avenue to explore opportunities for change, and providing the capacity to implement the aforementioned change. It is these same drivers that birthed the SITEI conference in partnership with the Deputy High Commission of Canada. We realized that there are challenges within the sector that were somewhat being overlooked, and people were weary about bringing some of these things to light. Our vision was to bring about real change, not by naming or shaming government or other entities, but by providing a platform for all sectors: private sector, public sector, and of course civil society, and academicians, communities to engage, to talk over these issues, and then provide intelligent and actionable solutions to same. Granted, before now, it was difficult to bring government to the table, but thankfully, we have been persistent enough to get to the point where we can take advantage of, finally, a government with a listening ear and willingness to follow through on its promises to effect real change. Are we putting our hands together for this government, please? Also, we have endured companies who have been unwilling to support the cause out of fear of some sort of alienation. But over the years, we have also been fortunate to encounter a crop that has continued with us on our journey. These challenges have, however, spurred us to design a robust platform that has transcended endless debates and monotonous spills of organizations' efforts to active participation from all stakeholders before, during, and after the event. We have identified needs that we have followed through. It is these efforts that have birthed the Friends of SITEI working group, which is a multi-stakeholder working group that continues to function after every SITEI conference. An embodiment of one of the great achievements of SITEI is the SIP. The SIP is a voluntary set of principles that cover environmental management, human rights, community engagement, and is in line with international frameworks, including the SDGs, the UN Global Compact, and the GRI's G4 guidelines. SIP stands for Sustainable, Extractive, and Energy Principles. If adopted by federal and state governments, as well as businesses, this framework will serve as a catalyst to further align extractive policies with national development plans and to engage more systematically with public and private sector institutions who may be expected to voluntarily adopt the standards for cohesive management of the industries. So our principles cover, as I said, environmental sustainability, social inclusion, economic development and inclusion, and of course, something that we're very well known for, sustainability reporting. Our recommendations actually addressed at least 12 of the 17 SDGs. We also studied the Federal Ministry of Petroleum Resources' 7 big wins, along with its 20-point agenda, as well as the Federal Ministry of Mines and Steel Development's mining roadmap to shared prosperity strategy. Strategies that would guide operations for at least the next 2 years and see, interestingly, that our visions are indeed aligned. For instance, our framework provides guidance on best practice approaches to policy and regulation, refineries and local production capacity, Niger Delta security, transparency and efficiency, and stakeholder management and international coordination for companies working in host communities. Consequently, SITEI 2017 is poised to join forces with government to see to the operationalization and the effective management of the various focus areas of these frameworks and to ensure transparency and accountability across the board. There's a clear need for the standardization of practices across businesses of all sizes, and our goal is to elicit clear commitments from all concerned stakeholders to uphold these standards. We're certain that there will be a need for training, for partnerships, and resource mobilization, and that is why we have gathered this group of diverse stakeholders into this room. In ensuring transparency and accountability at the end of each day, discussions and recommendations emanating from the conference will be reported to the appropriate arms of government, industry leaders, and regulatory bodies. It will also be published nationwide. It is our intent to follow the enforcement of these recommendations closely to ensure that they are adopted by key decision makers at the helm of affairs in the government, private sector, and regulatory bodies as well. We're confident that all our collective efforts will serve to ensure the long-term profitability of the sector and promote responsible and ethical practices that facilitate cohesion across key stakeholders. The shared value to be earned from the concerted efforts of these key stakeholders seated here truly excites me as we make a bold step to building our local refineries and extractive entrepreneurs towards a truly competitive global sector. I use this opportunity to recognize our partners who have been with us from the beginning, NATI. I also recognize the efforts of the Federal Ministry of Petroleum Resources, who worked closely with us throughout this process, the Federal Ministry of Mines and Steel Development, NMPC, PET and MAN, As special guests, Amina J. Mohammed, who has actually sent us a goodwill message, Dr. Ibeka Chiku, of course, Dr. Kyle Fayemi, who will be keynote at tomorrow's event, Dr. Maikanti Baru, represented by Alhaji Saidu Mohammed, Mr. Waziri Adio, Mr. Simbi Wabute, Frank Dixon Mugeni of the African Union Commission. I recognize John Sloan as well from the UN, industry veterans, sponsors including NNPC, ITO, Ford Foundation, NCBMB, Access Bank, Lafarge, our steering committee, Ms. Oge Modi, Chief of Staff to the Honorable Minister of Petroleum Resources, Tony Atta, the Managing Director, NLNG, Sani Shehu, President Man, Meka Lola, Chairman, SITEI Organizing Committee, and Anthony Okorafor, Chairman, PETAN, Dr. Ladi Bada, CEO, Shoreline Resources, Natural Resources, Professor Ong Chekwa Jamie, Editor-in-Chief, Business Day newspaper, and our able Chairman of CSR-in-Action, Professor Wale Omole. I also wish to use this opportunity to thank my colleagues who you don't see here before you, but who are actually instrumental to making all of this happen. I thank Ebuka, Dare, Fumi, Ore, Dare, Kenena, everybody, all the wonderful delegates present here today. I congratulate you all for the part that you play in building a nation with a globally competitive and sustainable extractive sector. Thank you.